I was asked to come here and speak about creation. And I only have 15 minutes. I see they're counting already. And in 15 minutes, I think I can touch only a rather janitorial branch of creation, which I call creativity. Creativity is how we cope with creation. While creation sometimes seems a bit ungraspable or even pointless, creativity is always meaningful. Say, for instance, in this picture, creation is what put that dog in that picture, and creativity is what make us see a chicken on his hindquarters. When you think about, creativity has a lot to do with causality too. When I was a teenager, I was a creator. I just did things. Then I became an adult and started knowing who I was and tried to maintain the persona. I became creative. It wasn't until I actually did a book and a retrospective exhibition that I could track exactly. It looks like all the crazy things that I had done, all my drinking, all my parties, they followed the straight line that brings me to the point that I'm talking to you at this moment. Well, it's actually true. The reason I'm talking to you right now is because I was born in Brazil. If I was born in Monterrey, probably I would be in Brazil. I was born in Brazil and grew up in the 70s under a climate of political distress. And I was forced to learn to communicate in a very specific way, in a sort of a semiotic black market. You couldn't really say what you wanted to say. You had to invent ways of doing it. And you didn't trust information very much. That led me to another step of why I'm here today is because I really liked media of all kinds. I was a media junkie. And eventually got involved with advertising. My first job in Brazil was actually to develop a way to improve the readability of billboards, and based on speed, angle of approach, and actually blocks of text. It was very good study and got me a job in an ad agency. And they also decided that I had to give me a very ugly plexiglass trophy for it. And another point why I'm here is that the day I went to pick up the plexiglass trophy, I rented a tuxedo for the first time in my life. Picked the thing, didn't have any friends. On my way out, I had to break a fight apart. Somebody was hitting somebody else with brass knuckles. They were in tuxedos and fighting. It was very ugly. And also, advertising people do that all the time. And what happened is, when I was on my way back to my car, the guy who got hit decided to grab a gun, I don't know where he had a gun, and shoot the first person he decided to be his aggressor. The first person was wearing a tuxedo. It was me. Luckily, it wasn't fatal, as you can all see. And even more luckily, the guy said that he was sorry, and I bribed him for compensation money, otherwise I'd press charges. And that's how, with this money, I paid a ticket to come to the United States in 1983, and that's the basic reason I'm talking to you here today, because I got shot. Well, when I started working with my own work, I decided that I shouldn't do images. I took this very iconoclastic approach, because when I decided to go into advertising, I wanted to do. I wanted to airbrush naked people on ice for whiskey commercials. That's what I really wanted to do. But they didn't let me do it, so they only let me do other things. But I wasn't into selling whiskey. I was into selling ice. The first works were actually objects. It was kind of a mixture of found object, product design, and advertising. And I called them relics. They were displayed first at Stuck's Gallery in 1983. This is the clown skull. It's a remnant of a very evolved race of entertainers. They lived in Brazil a long time ago. This is the Ashanti joystick. Unfortunately, it has become obsolete because it was designed for Atari platform. PlayStation 2 is in the works. Maybe for the next TED I'll bring it. The rocking podium. This is the pre-Columbian coffee maker. Actually, the idea came out of an argument that I had at Starbucks that I insisted that I wasn't having Colombian coffee. The coffee was actually pre-Columbian. The bonsai table. The entire Encyclopedia Britannica bound in a single volume for travel purposes. and half tombstone for people who are not dead yet. I'm sorry. I wanted to take that, into the realm of images, and I decided to make things that had the same identity conflicts. So I decided to do work with clouds, because clouds can mean anything you want. I wanted to work in a very low-tech way, so something that would mean at the same time a lump of cotton, a cloud, and Durer's praying hands, although this looks a lot more like Mickey Mouse's praying hands. But I was still, this is a kitty cloud. They're called equivalents after Alfred Stieglitz's work, the snail. But I was still working with sculpture. I was really trying to go flatter and flatter. The teapot. I had a chance to go to Florence in, I think it was 94, and I saw Ghiberti's Door of Paradise. And he did something that was very tricky. He put together two different media from different periods of time. First, he got no age-old way of making images, which was relief. And he worked this with three-point perspective, which was brand new technology at the time. And it's totally overkill. And your eye doesn't know which level to read, and you become trapped into this kind of representation. So I decided to make these very simple renderings that at first they are taken as a line drawing, something that I did them with, and then I did them with wire. The idea was because everybody overlook like pencil drawings, and they will look at it, it's a pencil drawing, and then you have this double take and see that it's actually something that existed in time. It had a physicality. And you start going deeper and deeper into a sort of narrative that goes this way towards the image. So this is a monkey with Leica. Relaxation. Wow. Fiat Lux. And the same way the history of representation evolved from line drawings to shaded drawings, and I wanted to deal with other subjects, I started taking that into the realm of landscape, which is something that's almost a picture of nothing. I made these pictures called pictures of thread, and I named them after the amount of yards that I used to represent each picture. This always ends up being a photograph at the end, or more like an etching in this case. So this is a lighthouse. This is 6,500 yards after Corot. 9,000 yards after Gerhard Richter. And I don't know how many yards after John Constable.